Hi everybody, hopefully you guys are doing well. I apologize about this technical issue, but we're getting it resolved here soon. So I just want to let you know that today we are showing off the dwarf Ruixue apple trees. We have the dwarf trunk at the very bottom and the Ruixue apple branch right up top. The dwarf trunk does a really good job with keeping the tree short. So as the tree grows, the tree is only going to grow a maximum of 3 to 5 feet tall max. But if you plant it into the ground, the tree is going to grow to about 5 to 8 feet tall. So it does depend on where you plant it. Again, if you plant it in the ground, it's going to get a little bit taller, but still shorter than every other tree that's out there. Now, the tree is still very young. It's only 3 years old, so it's going to take about another 2 to 3 years to actually start growing apples. However, it is self-pollinating, so you don't need multiple trees in order to get apples. I will say though, if you just let it grow on its own with no other dwarf Ruixue apple trees around, the tree itself is only going to grow to about, it's only going to grow maybe like 2 to 4 apples every year, so it's not going to be that much. However, if you get 2 trees, they're going to be able to pollinate each other, and you're going to get a much larger yield. So for instance, you're looking at something closer to this. This is actually a good example right here. This is what the tree is going to look like if you have multiple trees pollinating each other. So you're going to go close to about 10 apples per yield, and that's going to be per tree. So you're going to be going from, if you just get 1 tree, about 4 apples every year. But if you get 2 trees, you're going to be looking at about 20 apples. If you're near the Bay Area of California, I'd highly recommend checking them out. Moon Bay Bonsai, they have gorgeous trees, and they always send us all their younger trees. So for example, this tree right here is 3 years old. All of the trees that we have are about 3 years old. So they usually send us the younger trees. That way it's easier and cheaper for us to ship it to you. Because again, none of the trees that we sell do we ever have you pay for shipping. We always do shipping ourselves for free. We offer that for free. A lot of people think that it started in Japan, actually started in China, but it almost started in India. And so the reason I bring this up now is because the reason it almost started in India is there was a lot of medicine men that, like this was before cars, I guess they could have taken horses, and they probably did. But they were herbalists basically. They would cure people with herbs. And so they would take these plants with them because they wouldn't, they needed them green or however it was. And they would take these plants with them in a little bag, and technically they would prune the tree because they would have to take the leaves off. So they cut branches off, and they were basically doing bonsai without knowing it was bonsai. It wasn't until years later did China actually start making it an official art form. So yeah. If you put it inside, even if you keep it near a window, sometimes, a lot of windows, especially newer houses, newer windows, have been treated with UV protection. And unfortunately, the trees need that UV light. There are ways around it, like you could get a full spectrum lighting, light that you could put over it, but there's a lot of other factors that you have to keep in mind. Also, a lot of people like to keep their, their house a lot warmer than outside, and the tree does need to go through a winter dormancy. During the winter dormancy, the tree likes to drop all of its leaves and start storing up energy for the next spring for it to sprout out more leaves and sometimes even blooms. So it takes a lot of energy, and it does need that winter dormancy to start storing it up. You got to bend the tips. Well, yeah, up here when it's a little bit softer, sure. But, especially with like the Shimpaku junipers where they have a lot softer wood, usually you don't have to jump in real quick to do the bonsai. Like these softer ones, yeah, they can potentially bend a bit. But for the most part, these guys, once they're a lot more firm, and it happens pretty quick with these guys, you can't really bend it as often. So not as easily bonsaiable, if you will. Oh, and one more thing to mention. I had mentioned earlier that we don't send the pot when you purchase one of the dwarf Ruixue apple trees. So you're going to have to get yourself a pot. Recommend like a clay or ceramic, but at the end of the day, whatever you get, clay, ceramic, plastic, resin, make sure the pot itself has plenty of drainage. That's going to be really important. But it doesn't matter if you get clay, ceramic, any kind of terracotta, plastic or resin or whatever. Make sure that the pot itself has plenty of drainage that you can see right here. And the reason we recommend the drainage is, not recommend, the reason we tell you to get a pot with drainage is because if you don't, the pot itself is going to start filling up the water, and it's going to become stagnant, and it's going to become toxic, and it's going to start killing the roots. If you don't know what you're looking at, it's going to look like the tree's drying up even though you've been watering it. And then you're probably going to want to water it more, and then it's just going to kill the tree faster. So just make sure that your pot has plenty of drainage. Especially if you've never done it before, and if you've never grown a plant before, and you notice the tree getting a little bit drier, a lot of people will oftentimes just put more water in. They're like, oh, my tree's drying out, I need more water. And then it just kills the tree faster. So if you know you've been watering it correctly, and your tree starts drying out, what you want to do is you want to take the tree out of the pot, clean the roots, check at the roots. Any of them that are rotting, snip them off. Then you want to go ahead and make sure your pot has drainage, make sure the drainage is not clogged, because it happens from time to time. And then, resoil, repot, and you should be good to go. What are the planting zones? Can they survive in the Northeast? Yeah, so you should be good. Climate zones usually about 5 through 9. The main things, if it ever gets over 90 degrees, put your hand on the pot, your bare hand on the pot. If it gets too hot, you want to put the pot in the shade, but only the pot. Like the tree itself, the plant, the leaves, they're going to do fine in the heat. The problem is, the pot itself will start collecting the heat, and it basically turns the pot into an oven. So it could potentially start baking the roots, and you don't want that. Putting the pot somewhere shady. Indirect sunlight is okay for this, but of course, the more direct sunlight that you can put it in, the better. If it ever gets too cold, if it ever gets below 0, you want to cover the pot in mulch, and that's so that the roots don't freeze. But a lot of the whole extra care has to do with the fact that it's in a pot. If you decide to plant it into the ground itself is going to insulate the roots, so you're golden there. That's a great question. Our apple trees right here, which technically are bonsais, are $29.99 right now, normally $34.99. So we do have them on sale at the moment. If you want to buy 2, you're looking at $53.99, normally $59.99. Again, we do have a Father's Day sale going on right now. How do you ship? That is a great question. So when you make that purchase, the only thing that you have to do, you're only going to be paying for the tree and taxes. After that, you're good to go. We ship it via priority mail, USPS priority mail. What we do is we remove the tree from the pot. So one thing to keep in mind, you're not going to be getting the pot or the soil. We wrap the roots in this cloth, and we wet the cloth, and then we wrap that in saran wrap. That way the tree stays hydrated as we ship it. And with the priority mail, it usually only takes about 3 to 5 days to get to you. We're in California, so depends on where you're located. It might take a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. We sent one to Boston a few months ago, and they said they got it within 2 days. So just something to keep in mind. Now, one more thing to note. If you live in Hawaii, Florida, Texas, Washington, Ohio, Virginia, or Alaska, I cannot ship to you. Again, it's not that I don't like you. It's a whole certificate thing. A lot of states are very particular about what plants go in and out of it due to invasive species, whether they're bugs or whatever, or contaminated soil or something. So just something to keep in mind. Everywhere else, absolutely, I can ship to you.